Timbertwig and the Talent Show. One bright spring morning, Timbertwig strode into the kitchen to discover Granny Knot bent deep into the compost bin, mumbling to herself.
Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
"Good morning, Granny,"
Oh dear.
he began cheerily. "Don't tell me you've lost your reading glasses again." Granny Knot straightened up, startled, her face a smorgasbord of potato peelings, onion skins, and mouldy green carrots. "Sorry, what did you say?" she began. "I can't hear a thing without my glasses." You've got a bit of coleslaw on your face," said Timbertwig, pointing towards his own chin. "A cold sore?" she exclaimed, staring into the mirror. Granny Knot scraped the offending blob off her chin and proceeded to eat it. "Oh, Timbertwig, there's not a morsel of food in the house," she sighed. "I was scavenging to find something, anything to make a soup with. Oh." "Don't worry, Granny," assured Timbertwig. "Abigail and I will go and see what we can forage in Wiggly Wood. There's bound to be something out there we can use." "Then I think I'll join you," she announced, slipping on her coat. "There's no use moping around in the tree house." And so they headed off into Wiggly Wood, where they soon came across Muddle the Mole in conversation with Snickerbark, one of the tickling trees. "Well, hello there," greeted Timbertwig. "And what's going on here, then?" "Oh, thank goodness," said Muddle. "Someone has pinned a notice on Snickerbark's bottom, but my eyesight is so poor I can't read what it says." "Perhaps I can help," offered Timbertwig, as he unpinned the notice. "Ouch! Be more careful when you do that," shrieked Snickerbark. "It's an invitation to take part in the Chuckleborough Talent Contest, compared by the one and only Mr. Misfit," announced Timbertwig. "How exciting," said Muddle, squinting from behind his glasses. "I could enter with my knife-throwing act." "Knife-throwing?" gasped Timbertwig and Granny together. "Well, I might be a bit rusty," admitted Muddle, "but I'm certain I'll be okay after a bit of practice." "Does it mention anything about a prize?" asked Granny hopefully. "Well, part of the notice has been torn away," replied Timbertwig, turning it over in his hands. "But I can make out the words £100. "Oh, that'll do nicely," said Granny, greedily rubbing her hands together. "That would stock up our kitchen cupboard for a whole month." So off they went in the direction of Chuckleborough Fair to see if they could win the prize. Abigail, meanwhile, had been listening very quietly from within Timbertwig's hat. "We'll see who really has the talent in this family," she thought to herself, and began thumbing, if indeed spiders have thumbs, through her well-loved book of spells. Upon reaching Chuckleborough Common, Timbertwig and Granny Knot went in search of the caravan of surprises, and discovered Mr. Misfit rocking to and fro on a little stool, clutching his left ankle. "Oh, Granny, are you a sight for sore eyes?" he winced. "I'm afraid I've had a wee accident." "Whatever happened?" asked Granny. "Well, I was just rehearsing my big stage entrance for the talent show, and I tripped over one of Doc Leaf's bottles of Baldy Brew. I twisted my ankle so badly I can't walk." "Will you be okay to compare the show?" inquired Timbertwig. "I'm afraid not, laddie," he replied. "I was hoping your lovely Granny would help me out and introduce the acts." "Well, I mean to say, mumbled Granny Knot. "Go on, Granny," encouraged Timbertwig. "You've always wanted to tread the boards, and now's your big chance." Granny Knot didn't need asking twice, and sprinted over to the marquee where the show was about to commence. She just had time to scoop up the list of acts taking part, and then skipped up the steps onto the stage. Unbeknown to the others, Abigail was planning a surprise entrance for her own performance. All she needed was some musical instruments to accompany her. She opened up the appropriate page and raised her magic stick. "Fairies cute and kittens cuter, bring to me a magic fluter." There was a soft explosion of pink dust, causing Abigail to splutter and cough. But as the dust settled, there was no sign of a magic fluter anywhere. "I've got a very bad feeling about this," she trembled. At this same moment, Granny Knot was stepping up to introduce the first act, when the strangest thing happened. Whenever she started to talk, her nose made the funniest, inappropriate noises. "Ladies and gentlefolk of Wiggly Wood," she began. But all the audience could hear was a series of ear-piercing honks. "Oh dear," worried Abigail when she realized what she had done. "Instead of making a magic fluter, I've given Granny a tragic hooter." The first act to be introduced should have been Biddy the Hedgehog and her balloon animal backing singers, the Airheads. But Biddy stepped onto the stage alone. "And first up, can we welcome Biddy and the..." Granny announced with her accompanying nasal flute before whispering, "Where are the Airheads?" "Well," explained Biddy, "we decided to have a group hug for luck and, well, you can guess the rest." "Oh no!" tooted Granny. "What music did you plan to play?" "Why, pop music, of course," chuckled Biddy with embarrassment. And so the little hedgehog took to the stage to begin her career as a solo artist. Abigail watched on in horror as she desperately searched for the spell to undo her magic. "Oh well, this is better than nothing," she began. "Shake your legs and slap your jeans. Change her nose to tangerines." As Biddy the Hedgehog finished her song to rousing applause, Granny stepped forward to thank her and noticed a strange rattling sound as she walked. "Oh no, not again!" cried Abigail. "Instead of a nose of tangerines, I've changed her toes to tambourines." Granny made an almighty shaking noise whenever she attempted to move, adding to the already annoying nasal toots. "Thank you, Biddy. That was very uplifting," she declared. "And now for our second act. Here's a bit of stand-up comedy. Please welcome on stage the Wiggly Wood Wit himself, down in the dumps, Dennis." "Knock, knock," he called. "Who's there?" the audience replied. "Anyone for..." he continued. "Anyone for who?" they called. "Anyone for Dennis." He laughed. Sadly, no one else laughed, so Granny had to quickly rattle across the stage to escort him off before the rotten cabbages rained down. "I think that went down rather well," said Dennis proudly. "One of my better efforts." As the show progressed, so Abigail desperately attempted to undo her failing spells. When Tippy Toad and his friends performed their synchronized space hopper routine on trampolines, Granny's funny bones became 2 trombones. When the Mushroom Man attempted, unsuccessfully, to juggle a squadron of daredevil snails, Granny's windpipe became a set of bagpipes. And on Abigail's last attempt, Granny's bum became a big bass drum. As Granny bravely crossed the stage, she sounded like a disastrous orchestra of whistles, booms, toots, and pops. Timbertwig suddenly had an inspired idea and rushed to the microphone. Ladies and gentlefolk, for our final act today, may I present to you Granny Knott and her one-woman band. The whole audience rose to their feet and cheered as Granny danced and played in the most spectacular fashion. It even encouraged Mr. Misfit, who managed to hobble onto the stage to make an announcement. Well, I think we all know who the winner is, he began, taking hold of Granny by the castanets. Oh, it's Granny Knott! Granny Knott leapt triumphantly into the air, causing a cacophony of sounds. And here's your wee prize for winning, he continued, as Doc Leaf arrived, pushing a wheelbarrow. First prize, £100 of turnips and Swedes. Granny went to protest, but only managed to emit a sharp chord from her bagpipes. Then, just at that moment, Abigail finally found the correct spell to undo all of her mistakes, and in a flash, a bang, and a flurry of notes, Granny was back to her old self. Turnips and Swedes! She screamed. Turnips and Swedes! Why, that will keep us in soup for a whole year. Thank you.